Hey guys, I'm Mykyta, the host of this podcast. This is one of my first podcasts, and this goes on YouTube. And my guest is Cheath. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah, Ricky Cheath.
Awesome, awesome. How's your day?
It's been a busy day, but busy is good. Busy is good. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And could you give us like a brief summary about yourself?
Sure. So I am the senior vice president at Granite Bank. My role there is I'm in charge of regional development and diversity lending, as well as I have extensive background in coaching, mentorship, and I do public speaking as well.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah. Since the last time we spoke, I actually appreciate you offering me like a coaching. Yeah, since the last time we spoke, um, a lot of things happened in my life, and you know, um, honestly, yeah. So I paid off my debt. If you can remember, yeah, I had struggles with that, and yeah, I really love your motivation, how you were motivating me about everything. Yeah, and I love your spirit, honestly.
That's awesome, man. Just hearing how far you've come since we last spoke during our reoccurring sessions. That's great because I do remember that one of your goals in order to move forward. We talked about, hey, you got to pay off some debt. You gotta clear this part of your life in order for you to take that big step forward. And I have noticed I followed you on social. And I see you making big changes and making big moves. So congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Also, wanted to see if how did you decide to become who you are right now? Did you go to college for that, or did you do any trainings?
Yeah. So my life is is where it is because of my past.
Yeah.
And that is I was a first generation Cambodian refugee, which basically means that I wasn't born in this country. I was born in Cambodia. I was born during a time of war where millions of Cambodians were being executed. So my family became political refugees here. We received political asylum due to my father's military background. And growing up, we had to work. My parents had to work multiple jobs. We lived in a two-bedroom apartment for 7 people, which is pretty cramped.
Yeah.
And I wasn't the most popular kid because I was the poor, strange child that also didn't speak very good English. And earlier on in my childhood, my parents just taught me, hey, if you want to succeed in America, education is the way to go. Like, you have to seek out quality education. You have to be around people that you aspire to be. So what happened is I lucked out. We moved from place to place to place every single year to try to improve our living situation. And one year, when I was in the 6th grade, my parents sat us down. They told us that they purchased a home. And I didn't know what that meant as a child, but as an adult, that was the year my life changed.
Yeah.
Now, because of that, I got to stay in the same school district, and I got to make friends, and I got to get quality education and find my mentors early on in life. Now, I did go to college. I was fortunate enough to get good enough grades to go to college. I didn't go to school to be a financer or banking or anything like that. I went to school to be a nutritionist.
Yeah.
But right away after college, I discovered that didn't fill my cup.
Did you go to college through scholarships? So they would pay for the tuition and everything?
No, no. I didn't earn a scholarship. I had to pay my way through college. My parents didn't make enough money to afford me to go to college, so I saved up a lot of money, and I also took out student loans and got grants. So
Yeah.
I did get some college paid for through grants, but most of it was based on just hard work and perseverance and grit. So
Really good. Hey, let me ask you this. Do you think the college is important?
For me, it was important, but I think college is important for everybody? No, I don't believe that college is for everyone. But for me, it was important because it allowed me to grow up. Although my childhood was pretty much a work hard, study hard, and don't do anything that would be disrespectful to the family name. That time in college allowed me to be a kid. It allowed me to find who I really was. I wasn't ready to be an adult at the age of 18. Now, some people, I don't believe college is for everyone. Like I said, if you know what you want to be at an early age, then go be that. Especially with the rising costs of college tuition as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fraction. I mean, my college was a fraction of what it is now.
Did you go to University of Minnesota?
I went to Mankato State, but now it's Minnesota State Mankato. But when I went there back in 1996, it was Mankato State University.
Was it 4 years or 2 years?
It was a 4-year college. It took me 5 years to graduate a 4-year college.
5 years.
5 years to get the 4-year degree. Yeah, because I changed majors. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I started out in computer science, MIS, and then I switched over to nutrition.
Good. And so you definitely think that was worth it for you?
I do, because it allowed me to create my network. In this world, I believe it's not about how much you know, because there are plenty of smart people in this world. There are smarter people than me in this world. But what got me through the hard times, and also what propelled me to the point to where I am today, is the network I've developed and built. There's an old saying: "Show me your network, I'll show you your net worth."
Yeah.
And that's because nowadays you can learn more from the person you're sitting across from versus learning, and spending it at a 4-year college, and spend countless hours. Why? Because of that's what you're interested in. The person you're conversing with on a daily basis, they may be doing what you're already doing. So you have a keen interest in paying attention and making sure that you're doing the things right.
Yeah. Were you good at school?
Yeah. I was. School was easy to me. It didn't start easy, but again, through the Asian culture, it's high education, push that forward. Get a good job and study hard, and you'll be fine. So I had to work at it. But yeah, I mean, I party a little hard though, in college, just like everybody else does, right?
I don't know. I never was good at school. Never.
Yeah.
I tried so hard to be good at school. I just can't. I can't focus. I just can't sit in a class where there's a lot of people. I just can't focus.
But that goes to my point earlier, right? Is when you asked me, do you think college is for everybody? And
Yeah,
no,
totally.
It's because
Yeah, and we're definully different.
Yeah.
I'm just giving my point of view.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like for you, I bet you if I asked you, hey, who are your top 5 people that you admire? Doesn't matter if they're alive or dead, right? Give me your top 5, and in this world, in this theory, those 5 people, you would have an hour with them individually. I bet you could not only pay attention, but you'd probably leave that hour conversation with a bunch of notes and a bunch of thoughts and action plans, right? Yeah,
that's true.
That's because that's how your brain is wired, and that's why, and that just again proves my point that college isn't for everybody. It's, we take in what we want to take in, and some people sitting in a room with 40 or 50 or 100 other people, that's not their cup of tea,
Yeah, that's true. Is there 5 people that you do admire and would like to spend an hour with them?
Man, you hit me with my own question, huh? Yeah, I mean, there's, there's a lot more than 5. I would love to meet like Grant Cardone, I love, I've already met John Maxwell several times. I've been mentored by him in a group setting several times. But I would still add him to the list. He's just one of those inspirational writers. I'd, this is gonna sound funny, but man, I would love to sit with Tupac. You know, because he was a musician, right?
Yeah, musician.
Musician. And the just to be able to sit with him for an hour to get a different perspective.
Yeah.
And
I mean, those are absolutely different people, and
absolutely different people.
yeah, and they're like in different spheres.
Yeah, but I mean,
Interesting.
so like, because if you gave me 5 people, I wouldn't select 5 people of the same category.
Yeah.
I would purposely pick 5 people that are different, in their different, categories and their thoughts and their viewpoints, because I think that's, as human beings, I think that's how we grow, is we take in, if we allow ourselves, I should say, to take in different viewpoints, different thoughts, right? Versus if you were just to talk to versions of yourself all the time, how could you really grow?
Yeah. Absolutely. Would Patrick Bet-David be in your list?
He would not be on my list. I would definitely consider that. I remember I'd have 2 spots left, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to be very particular on my 2 spots.
Donald Trump, then?
Donald Trump would be interesting because of the political climate we're in.
He's good with real estate.
Yeah, and he's good with real estate. He knows marketing. I mean, the guy is a great, marketing wizard. And with Donald, I mean, kind of like what you see is what you get. He's not going to BS you. So
Yeah.
you're gonna get the truth whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Which
I love about him.
Yeah.
He means what he says, and he says what he means.
Yeah.
I love about it. I love that. How did you get to your current position, senior vice president, and why do you do what you do? Oh, you already answered that.
Well, I got to my position because I've been in the industry for 18 years.
Yes.
I started out as a loan originator, as a broker, and then throughout the course of my years, I've worked. I went from a broker to a correspondent lender, to a bank, back to a correspondent lender, and then now back to a bank. And some of it was due to mergers and acquisitions, which is why I switched companies. And some of it was because my season at that company was done. Like, it was time to move on. And this time around, when I switched over to Granite Bank, it was because I just come from an IBM, an independent mortgage banker company that was really large and really well known. But I had a Jerry Maguire moment. Do you remember the movie Jerry Maguire?
No, not really.
Okay, so it was Tom Cruise, right, and Cuba Gooding Jr. They're in the movie, and basically what happened was Tom Cruise is an agent, and he's working for this mega company, and he realized that he was doing such a good job. However, the company was so big that he started losing track of his customers, right? He started losing that customer service edge. So his moment was, I need to get smaller in order to get bigger. Meaning, I needed to pull myself back in order to provide better service. So when I say I had a Jerry Maguire moment, is I realized that the company, that my ex company was a good company. It was, in fact, it's so good that it was a very large company. But through growth came dilution, meaning that what I experienced there was starting to get diluted. And I wanted to join a smaller organization that allowed me to have more control, and that the primary focus was on the customer and the team members. And that's why I picked Granite Bank. They're a local bank and mortgage company here in Minnesota. I got to meet the owners, the Ryder family. Their story of starting from nothing to where they're at resonated with me because I started from nothing. I was a refugee.
Yeah.
And they were farmers. The Ryder family, they were farmers. The fact that that Jerry Ryder was able to go from being a farmer's son to go to college to having aspirations of purchasing his own bank, which isn't easy to do when you don't come from a line of bankers, to making that happen through will and determination and hard work. I was like, man, this company, I can do something with this company. This company is special, because I think you'll agree with me that there are so many organizations out in this world that are really good and do good things. But if we step back, is it the organization or is it the people in the organization that make the organization great?
I think that's the people.
It's the people.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what you and I get to do. Like, you're in real estate. You get to help make people's dreams come true, right? I'm on the lending side. My team helps finance those dreams.
So it's technically you.
Right? No, but
You as well.
yeah, but it's us. Like, we're in the people business. You're not in the real estate business. I'm not in the lending business. We're in the people business.
Totally.
Right? We're dream makers. We are literally making people's dreams come true, and that's exceptional. So it was important for me to be in a position like I am now, and to be surrounded with individuals such as the Ryder family to make that next part of my career happen, which is why I picked Granite, because of what they stand for, because of their core values. I wanted to make my stamp on this world. I want to leave a legacy that when people think of Ricky Cheath, they're like, yeah, he did a lot of good for a lot of people.
I love that. Love that. Yeah, actually, that's the goal of mine but because I help people, it just fulfills me.
Yeah.
It's like, do you have something that motivates you to do this, or people that you look up to, or you don't work based on the motivation?
Yeah. My motivation, one was my father, who passed away of cancer. One of the most hardest working guys you'll ever meet. He was a very humble and funny human being. He'd always laugh. He'd always be telling jokes. But he was always the hardest worker in the room. And he instilled that in me from an early age. So I don't want to disappoint him. And even though he's passed, I don't want to tarnish his name, the Cheath name, the legacy. And now I'm a father. I'm a father of 3. I'm a husband. So my motivation now extends to them. I want to show my daughter and my sons that, hey, your dad is someone that you can be proud of. This is what he's done to help other people, not what he's done to help the family, right? This is what he's done to help other people. It's funny, I had a conversation with my daughter Bailey, who's 11 going on 12. And one day around the kitchen table, she's like, I asked her what she thought I did for work. And this was like a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. And she's like, oh, you help people, Dad. You help people, Dada. You give money away, and you're always donating your time and giving out food and giving out supplies, and you help people. Right?
Wow. I love that. Honestly, yeah. That's respect.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
really nice.
That right there, puts an exclamation point on what I do. Like it validated that I am on the right path, and speaking of path, it's like, knowing that, your motivations of, helping people and leaving a legacy, is something that keeps you going forward. What do you want to do now? Now that you've started accomplishing the goals that we had talked about.
Yes.
What's next on your list?
On my list, so I almost paid off all my debt, so I'm debt free. I just have other payments that I need to do, but they're 0% interest. And there's like not much left, but I paid off everything I needed that had any interest on that. I chopped off my credit card. I love Dave Ramsey, honestly. I've started listening to him recently, and I think the guy makes sense, and I love what he says. And recently, I started getting into faith more deeply. I started talking to God a lot more, started getting to know him a lot better. And, even if this conversation is not about faith, but the God honestly brought peace to my life. And before that, I just did not know what to do. My life was always overwhelming. And since that moment, the last time we spoke, I actually broke up with my girlfriend. And then I realized that was the God sign for him to bring me closer to him. Because, I started talking to God more. And I think that the God now he's always with me. And the Holy Spirit is always with me. I started going to church, reading the Bible. And, I'm trying to do everything through God. And I feel a lot more fulfilled and trying to live my life through his teachings, trying to help people as well. And, do something for nonprofit because, it also fulfills me. I don't know, either something simple, either answering people's questions about real estate or buying food for homeless people, My other goals are just pay off everything I owe, resolve the problem with my immigration. So I'm currently working on that, and becoming a citizen is going to take about 3 years. What else? Then I'm just saving up money for that. And my next step would be buying a house or a property. Most likely it's going to be single family. I do want at least a duplex, but I don't know what the future holds for me. I want a duplex because I'll be able to have someone to rent it, and they would help me pay my mortgage. Then after that, when I say this, people freak out, especially people in real estate, that I want to pay it off completely right away, my first property, and then once it's paid off, I'll go from there. So it could be stacking up money from the rent, and I could buy my second property because at 30 years, I don't want to be working, to be honest with you, or I want to be financially free so I wouldn't have to work. I'll still be able to. At 30, I don't want to be worrying about money. I want to make sure that my family is good, my kids are good, that I do have a house that they don't have to think about, like whether they're going to get a food or if they have a shelter, they're not going to be thinking about it or worrying about it. They're going to have it. So yeah, by 30 years, I want to be able to retire and, just find a beautiful wife and start a family. That's the goal. And then after that, I think I'll be doing something bigger, probably open my own business. I'm already business owner as a real estate. I own my own business. But then probably I'll do something within real estate. I don't know what it's going to be yet, or if it's going to be that. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said a lot of things there. The first thing you started out with that I caught was, you found peace. You found, a way to center yourself, and that's through your faith. And your journey with God, and how that led you to a place of calm and evenness throughout your life. Because if you stay calm, when the waters get murky, you have a higher chance of survival, right?
Yeah.
Take that analogy and you put it into place in life, because life is messy. Like it's not simple. It's not easy 100% of the time, so during those tough times when you can find peace and, you have that hope and you have that center, and that's through your faith, it'll get you through those tough times. So that's the first thing I heard, which is very commendable. Thank you for sharing that. And the second thing is, you still have your goals kind of in order of what you want to accomplish. And you know, getting your citizenship, I got mine, you know, that's a big deal. You know, I didn't have my citizenship coming to America.
Yeah.
Had naturalization papers, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then later on in life became a citizen. So on that day that you become a citizen, man, let me know so I could be clapping for you in the background, because it's a big deal. That's a big deal when that happens. So I'll be super happy for you, you know. And then, you know, finally you talked about, you know, retiring at a certain age and buying a home. You know, I would recommend, if you want to start building wealth and building your legacy, you know, especially if it's your first home, you know, look at the triplexes or duplexes first, for the simple reason of what you just said, right? So let's just call it a triplex, which is, you know, for those that don't know, that's 3 living quarters in one building, right?
Yeah.
You live in one, and you have 2 families or two other people living in the other 2, paying your mortgage for you. If you start out with a multifamily, and duplex or triplex or even a quad, right? You can get into it for 3.5% down, because you're living in it. And then after a year, you know, then you if you start with a triplex, then the second year you go to a duplex. And you don't have to put that 20-30% down either. You move out, now you have your rentals, 3 rentals. Then you move into a duplex. You live in one, rent out the other, because you're improving your living situation, right? And then after 1 more year, so now we're on year 3.
Yeah.
That's the year you buy your single family home. And so in 3 years, how many doors do you have?
In 3 years,
You have
6.
6, 5 doors that are income producing.
Yeah.
Right. So you were able to get 5 doors, is what we call them in the real estate world, 5 rental properties for very little out of pocket, versus if you bought a single family home in the beginning, which is what a lot of people do. A lot of people, when they buy their first property, they buy a single family home. And then later on, if they decide they want to get into rental properties and owning, then they'll buy a duplex or a triplex or another single family. The problem with that strategy is that then you have to put more money down, because we're talking investment property.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm sharing with you is a way to get into a loophole. Is you buy an investment property that's also your primary resident, because, you know, whether it's a quad or a tri or a duplex, you are living in one of those units. So therefore, the minimum required down is quite a bit less. And that's a great way for you to retire early.
Yeah. But you said on the second time when you purchase a property, you don't need 20% down.
Yeah, so you still don't need 20% down on that second home. So let's go back to the theory. So on your first property, you're either going to buy a quad, right? So a 4-unit, or a triplex. You're going to live in one unit, rent out the other. You can do that for 3.5% down, okay, on an FHA. Now, on the second home, on a duplex, you know, you can get into a duplex for, call it 5% down.
Through conventional?
Through conventional, right? You know, you may be able to get into it, you know, for less, but call it 5% down. And again, you're living in one, renting out the other. And then this time, now you have 3 rental properties, plus that 4th one that you're about to take on, right, as qualified income for, you know, to help you qualify for that duplex.
Yeah.
Right. And if you've been living pretty much rent-free and mortgage-free for a year, because the people that, you know, have been paying your rent that entire year in that triplex, they've been paying your mortgage. So now you can take that money and you can bank it. Imagine how much money you'd save in a year.
Yeah.
Right. So that's that right there. That's powerful information. That's the cheat code. And then again, as long as you're willing to live in the triplex for a year or quad or duplex, whatever, right? And then that second year, live in that for a year. And then the third year, then you're living in a single family home. You've set your real estate portfolio up and with the little out of pocket as possible.
Totally. That's a great plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
It's worked. It works countless times over and over and over again. In fact, I wish someone told me that plan when I bought my first property. You know, now it's such a good plan. I share it with all my best friends. I share it with anybody that's looking to get into real estate, as well as anyone that's looking to buy their first property.
Yeah.
So,
do you own any assets? You just said that you own any other doors. Do you have any other investments, like, I don't know, stocks or anything else?
yeah, being in the finance industry, I think you have to have a good portfolio. You don't want to be too heavy in one sector. So yes, my wife and I, we do have investment property, and then I do have other investments in the normal market, as well as I try to invest in other companies, and I have my own company as a consultant as well, as a coach, a mentor. So I consult with individuals like yourself, or I'll consult with businesses. So,
Does it have a stock?
My company?
Yeah.
No, not yet. It's just privately held.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. What stocks do you invest in?
It depends, man. Depends on the year. It's always changing. Take a look at how the market's already changing and what's happening with the election, right?
Yeah.
I mean the Dow is already fluctuating based on who they think is going to win, right? So it used to be, hey, do you want to invest in companies based off of their future growth, or do you want to invest in companies based off of their assets and sustainability, and then also what sector, So I'm heavily in the technology sector right now because of AI growth.
Yeah.
I was in the banking sector, but I got out of that. So I pulled a lot of money out of my banking stocks, put them in technology stocks, and also medical. So yeah, I mean, I'm fairly diversified.
Do you invest short term, like 1 to 3 years, or long term?
So I'm pretty aggressive with my investing. I am now 46. So I feel that if I need to be aggressive, right now is the time to be aggressive because of my age. I think the younger you are, the more aggressive you can be. And the thought process is if you're super aggressive and you lose money, you still have plenty of time to make that money back, right?
Yeah.
Versus the older you get, the less aggressive you can be with your money because you can't afford to lose that money if you're closer to retirement, right? So at the age of 46, I feel I can still be fairly aggressive. And yeah, I mean, I do a lot with short-term investment risk, and also long-term growth. So
good. Do you invest in crypto?
I do not. That's one thing I wish I would have gotten into during the beginning phases. I have quite a few friends that do invest in crypto, and they did very well with it, and they continue to do very well with it. It's one of those things where, the old adage of stocks is you buy when it's low, and you sell when it's high. Well, crypto keeps going up and up and up and up. So there is really no low point anymore, in my humble opinion. So it's like, I'll get in somewhere else and on a different investment at the right time. So
Totally.
yeah. How about you?
Right now, I don't invest because I want to pay off my debt, and I'm just saving up for my emergency fund first. So after that, and after I have 6 months saved of expenses, so that I'm covered and I'll be able to invest.
Yeah.
I used to invest in just S&P 500, and that's it.
Yeah. that's a good philosophy.
That was
That's
ETF, like
yeah,
short term.
yeah. I mean, you're being fiscally responsible. You're hitting your checkboard by you're hitting your checkboard by paying off your debts, and making sure you have a reserve fund
Yep.
for those emergencies. So that's really good. Stay the course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what kind of property do you own?
So we have a townhome. I used to own a lot more properties before the 2008 crash, but obviously the 2008 came and went. So now it's we'll get back into the other properties, the residentials, but I want to start looking at commercial.
Hmm.
I think getting the commercial space is the right time based on how the market's playing out.
Like the business or the office?
Yeah, like buying commercial buildings.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Talking to some other friends that do investments, and I'd like to form an investment group, which is basically you pick anywhere from 5 to 10 people that you trust and respect and is like-minded, and you form an investment group. So let's just say it's 5 people, right? And for easy math, 5 people throw in $50,000. How much money do you have in the pot?
2,500. Oh, 250,000.
Yeah. So now you've got that money.
Yeah.
That you can invest in other things, and you can leverage that. You go to a bank, Granite Bank, let's just say, and you can leverage that to buy something, a commercial building. You fix up that commercial building, you make it more desirable, right? Now it's worth more money, so then you pull out that equity, and you pay yourself back, and then you put the rest of it you put in towards buying another property, right?
Yeah.
So that's the power, right, of having any. And this was just 5 people that I used as an example of $50,000, right? Imagine if, let's just say it was 6 or 7 or 8 people, and now you're on your 3rd or 4th or 5th commercial property, and I mean, take a look at real estate. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but you have a big risk. I think when you're investing with the other people, you need to 100% trust them, and I think you need to know them really well, so know that they're not gonna screw you. Yeah, like you said, people that you can respect, and the people that are going to respect you.
Yeah. That's why, again, your network is your net worth, right? And when I say network, I'm not talking about people you just happen to know. It's for me, it's the circle, right? Like who's in that first ring of your circle, and then there's that second ring, and there's a third ring, and then a fourth ring. How many people are in that first and second ring? And can you get people that are in the third and fourth ring? Can you get to know them enough to put them in the second or first ring? And in our line of work, the more people you have in that first and second ring, the better off you're going to be, because then, you help one another.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to ask you about faith, because earlier we talked about faith. Do you believe in God?
Yeah. So my faith is different from most. I was born Buddhist.
Yeah.
In Cambodia. When we moved to the United States and got political asylum, a church in Janesville, Minnesota, which is about a 45-minute drive south of Mankato, they sponsored my family, because in the early 80s, churches sponsored refugees. It wasn't government institutions.
Mm-hmm.
So a Catholic church sponsored my family, and then we ended up getting raised Catholic, but I still have my Buddhist heritage. So essentially, what that means is, we went to church on Sundays. I got baptized, got confirmed. I wasn't even an altar boy as well. And so I consider myself Catholic, but I also consider myself Buddhist, because I think Buddhism is a way of life, and Catholicism is a religion, right? So that's how I kind of marry the two.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I never heard someone do that.
Yeah. Yeah. We could talk, just on this subject alone of religion. I mean, look at organized religion. It doesn't matter what it is. If you have organized religion, what's one common theme between all the different organized religions?
God.
That there's one God.
Yeah.
Right? Now the difference is where that organized religion is on the planet. Right? So that one God, whether it's God, whether it's Allah, whether it's Buddha, whatever, right? That figure looks different based on, where they were from, right? But they still believe in a higher power, right? They still believe in one true person or spirit or entity, right?
Yeah.
And the rules of that religion are different as well, depending upon the religion, right? So that's why I say Buddhism is a way of life. It keeps me centered. Like when you found your faith, it brought you calm and brought you peace. Buddhism does that for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Catholicism, being Catholic, there's a bunch of rules to being Catholic. So that's what I'm saying. That's the religion piece, So do I believe in God? Yeah.
Mm.
Is God God? Is God Buddha? Right? Depends. Do I read the Bible? Yeah, I've read the Bible. I've gone to Bible study. You talk to one of my past mentors who was a pastor. We would have these in-depth conversations for about an hour once a week, and we would talk about God and the Bible and proof that God existed. That's through all the witnesses, the trials and the tribulations, and then how that was documented, right? So it's hard to refute that, but so many people do. But like I said, I mean, there's I still can claim that, yes, I mean, I was born Buddhist, I was raised Catholic, so therefore I'm both.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and I got to faith fairly recently, probably since last year in October, but I wasn't as close to God as I am right now, and currently I'm just trying to get to know him more and learn about him, to read the Bible and see what the history was like and what he did. But it was right in front of me my whole life, because my grandmother did go to church often every Sunday, and she brought me with her when I was like 8 or 9 years old. And after that, I wasn't really interested until the October last year. So yeah, because I needed him, and yeah, after that, he just decided that I need to get closer to him, and so yeah, here I am.
Yeah. Well, we all have a different journey.
Yeah.
We all find our way through life different, and now was the time for you to back then was your time to find your peace and your center with your faith. Some people don't get to experience that, so they never hit that part of life. So consider yourself very fortunate and lucky that that you found that. For me, it's one of those things to where it's like in the Catholic religion, to be a Catholic, it just got pushed on me over and over and over again, with church on Sundays, CCD school on Wednesday nights, being an altar boy, all that kind of stuff, at a fairly young age, that honestly I lost my way with the Catholic Church, during college, and then after college. I didn't want anything to do with it, because if something gets pushed on you over and over and over again.
And I heard people tell the story, like similar stories.
Yeah.
They were like, their parents were pushing them to do that, and nobody pushed me.
Yeah. So, but that's the difference, right? Is no one pushed you, and you were able to find your way, and the whys behind the why, you looking for that peace and that center in your faith was there. I'm lucky enough to find my way back around, through mentorship, through coaching, through mentors that were also religious, and that opened up my perspective again. So now I can, because like I said, I've done Bible studies, I've read the Bible, and most recently I've done that within the last 3-4 years, on a fairly consistent basis.
And if you look at the rehabs, there's a lot of Christian people,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
I was assuming that their parents were pushing them into faith, and that's why something happened to their head, and then they just decided to get away from that.
Yeah.
Decided to use drugs. Yeah, which is not as good, unfortunately. Yeah. What else? What advice would you give to your younger self?
That it's going to be okay. Relax, that it's going to be okay. And not everything is a 911 situation. Trust your judgment and put your head down and just continue to work and continue to grind. It'll be okay. Because, and that is because as a child, in an Asian family, growing up as an Asian family, expectations and pressure is pretty high. I told you my father was my hero.
Yeah.
But my mom and my dad, still demanded a lot. They still expected perfection, just like a lot of other Asian households. So that type of pressure from an early age, can be overwhelming sometimes. So I would tell myself, if I could speak to my younger self, that it'll be okay. Things will work out.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, honestly, I think peace, this is what you need to be productive and, achieve your goals. Sometimes you need to be overwhelmed, but not the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't have balance. At least I don't think there's no such thing as true balance, between like work and life. But you can have harmony. The two work and life, it's rarely that it's this, right? You work super hard to build a quality life, and their balance ends up like this. If you don't work hard enough, right, and you try to build this carefree life, your scales tip. So is there truly a balance? I tend to think not, but there can be harmony. One can exist with the other. So what I try to tell my mentees that are struggling to find that balance is don't look for a balance. It's not an equal scale.
Yeah.
Right? Look for harmony. If you put in 12 hours 2 or 3 days in a row at work, give yourself some grace and some latitude. Take off early the next couple days. Do something that's gonna kind of reset your mind and your body, your spirit. Take in the moments, right? Find that harmony between work and play. Don't let those moments pass you by.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I don't have any more questions. I appreciate you coming to film a podcast. That means a lot. Yeah, and I learned a lot from you.
Yeah. Well, I also learned a lot about you today too, even though we've been talking and coaching each other. So thank you for having me on your show, and it's an honor to be here, to be one of your guests. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.